throughout our Leaders for Life journey, we've been looking at how surf lifesaving can become more environmentally sustainable. Firstly, my name is Luke Smith, so I'm from Tasman State down in Christchurch. And what really drove me on this is how I see us as lifeguards and the organisation as a whole having such a large presence on our beaches. So obviously, as we continue to move forward and be leaders in this space, I definitely think this is an area that we should recognise.
Kia ora tātou, my name is Adriana. I'm from Mount Maunganui. I've been doing surf since I was a little nipper at 5 years old. I think, as Luke was saying, it's a really big opportunity for us as leaders of our community to really push in this space. We clearly all love the ocean, and so the environment is a huge part of our lives and our workplaces as well. That's kind of, I guess, my mantra behind why I think that this should be at the forefront.
Kia ora, my name is Simon Kay. I'm from Pacific Supply Swimming Club, and I believe that we all have our own personal responsibility to make sure that the actions we take are sustainable and environmentally friendly. And I think that personal responsibility extends to any organisations that we're involved with, making sure that we are sustainable as possible, acknowledging that we can be, and we need to be, make sure we're sustainable.
Kia ora, my name is Rachel Clee. I'm from Waimae Surf Life Saving Club, and I believe that knowledge is power, so educating the wider community and youth is really valuable. And
So today we're going to take you through starting with our vision. So we set this right at the start of our project. That's kind of really driven the whole thing. So that's our why behind we've done everything we have. From there we're going to look at our project background and our strategy. So why we think this is important and how we think that this can be rolled out. And then our 3 key deliverables. So we'll talk about these and how we think that we can reach a large amount of people throughout. And then red, yellow, green. So how we see this as a future and how we can see this staying in surf for a long time. Cool, so our vision to start off with, as you can see, and as I said, we set this right at the start, and this has driven out everything that we've done. So, empowering our Surf Life Saving New Zealand members to be kaitiaki of New Zealand coastlines, safeguarding our homes for future generations by engaging communities, creating environmental awareness, and taking action. So, obviously the situation in previous years, Surf New Zealand hasn't received good media attention around this. And not only just in the news, but it's also affecting our coastlines and where we operate between our red and yellow flags. This one here being just down the road when there was the water school at Mount Maunganui, and obviously how we responded to that. When we go to coastal erosion, that's another thing that's really affecting our surf clubs. And obviously it is such an important part of surf life saving, and this is our home bases on where we want to patrol during the summer. For our strategy, we've looked at what we think can be changed and how we want to roll this out, and then why we think Surf New Zealand can make a difference. So for our deliverables, our 3 key ones is creating a strategic partnership with an external organisation that's already making a really positive change in this area. Looking at our community education, so using programs like Beachhead so we can reach more members than just the ones that are part of Surf Life Saving New Zealand. But then including an award in the Awards of Excellence, so being able to recognise our members and our clubs for what they do in this area to really promote good change.
Cool, thank you. So looking at our first deliverable, as Luke said, is our strategic partnership. So in December 2019, we went and approached Sustainable Lines. For anyone that doesn't know a huge amount about them, they're a huge organisation across the globe. There's a big New Zealand organisation too, and a chapter essentially, and they do amazing work with our coastlines in terms of education, public awareness campaigns, beach cleanups, probably the forefront of the operations that most people see, as well as building riparian boundaries and dune restoration. So obviously very important for our own coastlines and the work that we do as lifeguards. We approached them and kind of floated the idea of a partnership with Surf Life Saving New Zealand, and the response was extremely positive. They looked at our organisation as essentially the kaitiaki of the people, the guardians of the people in New Zealand, so I think it's a really good opportunity for us to join forces essentially. Looking at our partnership, kind of how it would work and what we'd get from the benefits, resource sharing would be massive. Obviously for Sustainable Coastlines, we have a massive membership base, and we're all based on the coastline, we're leaders in our communities. That is just pure numbers to them. That's awesome. We can go out in our communities and really make a difference in this space. Public relations, that kind of goes both ways. For us, Obviously, as Luke said, we haven't had some great publicity. We're also doing some great things though, so this could be an opportunity for us to continue that development and push it further in lots of different areas we never considered we would without this partnership. And then that would lead to collaborative initiatives. So whether it's the education program, or as we'll allude to very soon, there's other programs we can look into at a kind of grassroots level that really help with pushing sustainability as well. So kind of the basic relationship, I guess, would start off with a bit of a foundation. We'd get the leaders of both organisations together in a room discussing how they think this rapport could work and this relationship could work, have a basic MOU outlining everything, and then have any schedules underneath that we end up adding in as we go. So when we approached Sustainable Coastlines, the biggest takeout that they gave us for how this relationship would benefit them was their newly adopted litter intelligence program. So essentially this is New Zealand's first litter database, and its frontline operation is just a beach cleanup, a controlled beach cleanup. They have already reached out to a number of community groups, and they've got opt-in from just individual community members as well. It's really basic. People just get given the training, the equipment, they do a beach cleanup in a specific area on the coastline, and then there's an app which they put all the data into once they count up and audit all the rubbish. So essentially it's combining the really grassroots nature that we have as an organisation, but putting it to a really good cause on an area of coastline that we all love, which is our own beach. So yeah, empowering kaitiaki, citizen science as well. We get the training and the equipment from Sustainable Coastlines. It's a 2-yearly program, so it could quite well align with maybe a beginning of the season and end of the season club beach cleanup, and it's opt-in. There's no force there. If clubs want to do it, they can. And yeah, the data collection and a lot of education around where the rubbish is coming from. So some beaches might find that they have a certain amount of particular rubbish, like cigarette butts or whatever it is, coming through their coastline, and that could help them with preventive action further along the line. And so yeah, this is essentially what the app looks like. It's really easy to monitor, really easy to add data to, and groups can do it with absolutely no troubles. Cool. Last one.
So our next deliverable we looked at was education, and we want to figure out how we can spread our vision in an effective way to empower kaitiaki tāna. So what we looked at was junior surf, and they already have a little bit about what they teach their juniors, but then we looked at beach education because we can spread this to the wider community, and we can take advantage of making new resources for wet weather day activities as well. So what we did is we brainstormed and we worked with regional beach ed coordinators, and we found 2 main areas of issues. So we had coastal erosion and coastal and marine plastic. So these are really important issues that we saw before, like for example the coastal erosion in Sunset Beach and plastic on our coastlines and in our waters. We need to make a safe environment for everyone. So then to make this an effective program for parents, teachers and students, we needed to look where this fit in with the New Zealand curriculum. So we found that in the achievement objectives of the New Zealand curriculum, they have a science strand, and in the strand we have living world and planet Earth and beyond. And from the ages of 5 to year 8, it fits with them the whole way through primary school. So then we came up with our unit, which the description is conserving and respecting the beach environment. So then we had to come up with some content and activities to implement in our unit for beach education. So for an example, for the coastal erosion, we have sand dune sculptures to display coastal erosion. So they build a sand dune, they might cover it with plants, rocks, and then wash the water over it and see how it affects it. We also have plastic bingo, so this makes students more aware of what type of plastics are harming our environment and what we can do to reduce that. We also have other activities like brainstorming, we have class discussions, we have awareness posters and memory games for those younger students where they can't comprehend more complex things. So our unit is really good and it's flexible because you can cut out all these activities to just be 10-minute slots within a beach education day, not just one chunk of unit, and it has lots of wet weather activities that they can do if they can't, for example, the conditions are really bad and they can't go on the sea. So if anyone does want further information about the unit, we have a copy of it that you can see after our presentation.
And finally, to our third deliverable, is a new award. So we know that Surplus Saving New Zealand already has the Awards of Excellence, which is a really good framework for recognising success from a local to a national level. And we thought we can already utilise this well-developed framework and just slot a new award in there. So our award is the Sustainable Action of the Year. So that said, the Awards of Excellence is a really good framework we already have, and we want to make sure that we're recognising success, because we know that there already is a lot of people successfully taking sustainable action out in the community, from solar panels on roofs, reducing waste at events, and just reducing waste in everyday operations. So we think by implementing this award, we can help raise awareness within the surplus saving community, so clubs can recognise what other clubs are doing and being like, hey, you know, that's a really good idea, I think our club should implement this, or even in the wider community, to the public, increasing surplus saving New Zealand's image, and making the community realise, well, surplus saving, they're saving lives and they're saving the planet. And hopefully finally we can make sure we can promote innovation, so other clubs with a bit of healthy competition, who doesn't like to win an award, and one club can see what one club's doing and realise, you know, that's awesome, but I think we can do this slightly better, and we just have constant improvement, making sure our clubs are sustainable as possible. So first, how the criteria work. There's a sustainable coastline, sustainable action of the year, so if the partnership goes through, just an idea of what we thought our sponsorship would be, sent to the DHL at the end of the year. So how it works, so mainly it's just about whatever the award would be, it would be whatever just has the greatest benefit to environmental protection. And there's lots of ways that can be done. It can be done through on the coast, such as sand dune implementation projects, or just picking up rubbish and beach initiatives. It could be more in the public eye, such as advocating for more sustainable practices, outreach to community and getting more community involved into the projects that you're doing, or just a reduction of waste, you know, making your clubhouse more efficient with more efficient lighting, heating, hot water, more efficient heating for your showers, reducing waste for events, so you know, increasing the recycling that your club's doing, making sure that your club has a recycling program. If it doesn't, composting, you know, the list again, this is a huge round. We just want to recognise with everyone anything that people are doing. So where we got to. So we wrote up a framework for our award, and we put that out to our staff members, and we got a bit of feedback that they want to trial it in the Eastern region to start with. So we put that in, and this is a snippet of the nomination pamphlet. So nomination pamphlet in the Eastern region, so we're going to get feedback and reviews from how that ran this season, and we'll go and we'll review how that worked and see what needs to be changed, and then hopefully roll it out into other regions this season. Currently, there is kind of two schools of thought with how this award would work. There's the Club of the Year framework, where it can be won by any club over and over again. It just depends on if they're improving from how they worked last year. So the difficulty with that is creating metrics to be able to measure how sustainable a club is and how they're doing. But this does promote constant improvement in a club knowing they can win it again just by making sure they're becoming more sustainable. Or it could be more along the lines of the Innovation of the Year, which is centered around an idea or a program or a project. This makes the comparisons more difficult because it is hard to compare maybe increasing your energy efficiency versus implementing a sand dunes restoration project. But we believe that this could be just help promote more innovation and new ideas in the sustainable surplus saving area.
Cool, yeah, so I guess looking ahead into the future, we've kind of, I guess, had a thought about where this could go, and in terms of strategic partnership, obviously getting that off the ground, moving that forward, and we're going to hopefully pilot some clubs, potentially probably our own clubs, to do the litter intelligence program, see how that goes, and then hopefully roll that out to other clubs as they opt in and get the training. So yeah, that would be really cool, and then obviously seeing other initiatives take off would be awesome.
So from the National Award, as I said, we're hoping to just get a review, refine things that are still in its baby stage. If there's not as much nominations or uptake to begin with, I think it's really important that we just carry on and push through, as it shows that maybe this is an area that we need more development, so there are more nominations and more programs that could possibly win this. Once we have that in the one region, we hope to roll it out to the other regions and then create a national award as well, either in the next season or the one following.
Yeah, so by term 4 we want our unit to be implemented into the beach education program, and this may involve us training and helping to train those instructors how to do the activities, what content to say, and this also could mean us making a pamphlet or just an easy brochure for these instructors.
And then it's from there, so obviously we've recognised what we think is our key deliverables, but obviously we can continue from that. So whether that be how we do our sporting events and those kind of areas too. But probably for you guys thinking it's who owns the space. I mean obviously we are making a positive change in that area, but what we think we've done throughout is that we can work with various ones through. So for example, the community education, rather than one person leading this, it'll be working with our beach education managers on how they can roll them out in their region. For the awards, obviously that's working with the club development officers and who runs that within their regions on how they can get that going and getting that with the honours and awards committees. So yeah, as we said, we've recognised that currently this isn't within Surf New Zealand, but we think that working with those various groups, we can get it out there and get it as one of the forefronts of our organisation.
Yeah, and as Luke was saying, while we have been doing some great things, I think it's key that we start evolving from kind of incorporating environmental protection when we have the time, the money, and instead we actually adopt it as this really foundational thing that we just do. It's part of the fabric of our decision making, our strategic planning, all the operations that we do, all the memberships that we have. Everyone is working together to essentially protect the environment that we serve in. So we kind of thought of a bit of tagline, and essentially how it goes is ko tātou ngā kaitiaki o ngā tangata, kui nei te wā kia riro hei kaitiaki o te moana. Or, we are guardians of the people, it's time to become guardians of the sea.
You mustn't forget MVP for making this all happen and giving us the opportunity to come together and learn so much from our facilitators and leaders and develop ourselves and work on our project to help improve Life Saving New Zealand.
And the staff members that also helped us along the way as well. Questions?
Just hopefully getting the unit into your community education before. How far down the track towards that happening do you think you are? That'll be here pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it's really possible. Like, for example, I would go to Southern Region Beach Education Caitlin, and I'd work with her and I'd tell her, I'd give her our unit plan, our activities, and be like, here they are. I think she's keen on it too, so we can get that rolling out, and just in the Southern Region maybe then expand it as other regions see how that rolls out.
But probably the big thing with that is we recognise that the core of beach is around water skills for life. So it's not coming in and taking that away and replacing it. It's probably just finding other methods. So with these programs, a great way is we can include this in our week weather days. So those days where, yes, you definitely need to do the water skills, but you need a bit more content. It's a great way to get them involved, and then those kids can take that ownership.
David?
Yeah, I know the beach education manager in the Northern Region has sort of started working on sort of a beach shed at high school level. Have you thought about developing, so I think it's probably not that yet, putting it into beach shed, but have you thought of how you can sort of target that age group if there is sort of a beach shed for that's like 13 to 15-year-olds or even greater age group?
Yeah, well, I think we had to refine this down to the age that we were aiming for anyway, so the content's all there. And also, sustainable coastlines have a lot of their own content that we can grab from as well, so any partnership with them would just make that super streamlined. Yeah.
Just on your time frames, on the beach here, like, I heard turn 4, you mean turn 4 this year?
Yeah.
That's ambitious. Nice. It's a very relevant topic, obviously, to us in our coastline, especially at the moment you're pointing out, the surf clubs that are affected by erosion at the moment, so it's exceptionally relevant, and especially since we're constantly asking local government, central government for assistance and getting partners. So on the awards side, what would be your preference when you're sort of talking about the club of the year versus innovation of the year kind of direction? With one always being awarded, the other one only being awarded when, there's that sort of threshold reach. What's your guys' thoughts?
I personally, I quite like the club of the year one kind of style because it encourages that constant improvement and people wanting to make their club better. The trouble is that it can be quite hard to measure metrics for these things, and that is something we need to look further into, whether you're looking at how much waste they produce, and you have to normalise it depending on how large the club is as well. If you're trying to get into any sort of calculation of emissions, then that can also be quite difficult. So like that would be awesome to do, but it could be quite difficult. The Innovation of the Year style does have drawbacks. I mean, there's only so many things we know that we can do at the moment. So hopefully really more occasional things come up. But yeah, it's hard. Like all innovations, it's hard to become super inventive.
You talked about a partnership with Sustainable Coastlines. Have you discussed that with any of the supervising staff or did they have a view?
Yeah, it's actually Adam Wall's idea. So he when he found out we were doing our project around sustainability, he was really keen to push that partnership. He's not here at the moment, but we decided to keep pushing with it, and they were really keen. Their response was awesome. So yeah, it's coming from the Surf Life Centre New Zealand staff as it was, and then we're keen to push that back up.
And with Chris coming into Adam's role too, we sat down with Chris as well, and he's really on board with it too. So rather than just one